Good morning and welcome back to another episode of the Basic Dude Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to discuss some things that I have been sort of working on myself. In the mental health world, I guess, for a lot of people, we have this new. Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's kind of new to me, so I thought it was worth discussing. But we have this thing called CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy, right? This is the latest and greatest trend on figuring out what the fuck's going on in your head. You can, I know it's suggested by a lot of counselors and psychologists, psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, all that stuff. And I have kind of taken it upon myself through doing my own little internet research that possibly this would be a good method of therapy for myself. You can kind of, there's outlets or ways that you can do it on your own. Obviously, if you're really having a lot of problems, I would like to implore you to seek therapy to really help you and kind of give you someone to talk to or guide you, whatever. I have been doing therapy for quite some time, and I've done it pretty much since my teenage years, off and on. And it does help, but you have to stay consistent with it. You can't just be like, all right, well, I'm going to do it for 3 months and then I'm fixed, right? But unfortunately, most of the time, especially with health insurance these days, which is fucking shitty, in the healthcare system in the United States, it absolutely fucking blows. But I digress. You get like once a week. You get an hour once a week to talk things out with somebody. So what do you do with the rest of those however many hours are in a week? I don't know. I didn't do the math. I'm sorry. I'm very badly prepared today, I guess. Yeah, what do we do the rest of the time? How do we, we have to have exercises. We have to stay on top of things, right? That's how do you become a master of something? Well, it takes like 10,000 hours. That's how you master something. So to master yourself, you need to really invest 10,000 hours into yourself, your mental well-being, physical well-being. Those two things are separate. So now you're looking at 20,000 hours, right? Anyway, it seems to be that there's all kinds of therapeutic techniques. Journaling's a huge one. I don't think that there's a single thing that I have not heard that doesn't, as far as like mental health, that does not include journaling. So, we need to find a way to help ourselves the rest of the week. And obviously, you can discuss this with your mental health professional, and they can guide you and give you some outlets, stuff like that. Or you can do what I do, and I like to just kind of take things upon myself, try to figure out kind of what's rolling around in here, right? What's rolling around in my head. So, like I said, through research, I found cognitive behavioral therapy, and I've sort of, with the help of AI and looking around, I've put together a program for myself for me to kind of do a daily and weekly practice, kind of like homework, like my own little night school class, I guess we'll say, right? Like a certificate program at a community college. So I've looked it over, and I like it for myself. So I could suggest to you that might be a good idea for yourself. You can use the tools that we have available to us. YouTube is a wonderful place, and and I'm not saying to self-diagnose yourself, but as far as like CBT therapy, from what I have seen, it can't hurt. Basically, all you're doing is trying to reshape thoughts, bad thoughts or misconceptions or things like that you have. And I don't see any negative outcomes. I don't see any negative impact that it would have on you to give it a try. Anyway, with that said, what we have to understand first is we have to understand, before you can do CBT therapy, you have to understand cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are the things that we think, do, feel, say that CBT helps deal with. So, if that makes sense. Just so everyone knows, I'm not a licensed medical professional or health professional. I'm not a counselor, not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of that shit. I'm just a guy who's a little fucked up in the head and really wants to fix myself so that way I can be a better man, a better husband, and a better father every fucking day. Why? Because what do I say at the end of every episode? Be the man that you are meant to be. Well, you can't be a better man. You know, you can't be, in my perspective of myself, with the way, with some of the shit that I've dealt with in life and the way that I am, I can't be that best version of myself without trying to fix my mental health. And in all honesty, I think everyone, regardless if you're fucked up in the head or not, needs to have someone to talk to. Whether you pay that person, $100 and something fucking dollars once a week for an hour of their time, or it's a intellectual friend that you can actually have a conversation with, which is kind of hard. Well, for some people, it's kind of hard to find somebody like that. That's, I don't know, and maybe you don't want to share certain things with friends, which is understandable. But yeah, I think everyone should participate in therapy on at the very least a monthly basis, right? Just kind of like a self-check. You're plugging that diagnostic tool into your OBD2, and you're going through and seeing where you may have some issues. All right. So with that said, we'll jump in here. We're going to break the thought traps. We're going to understand cognitive distortions because we have to understand those before we can press forward with CBT therapy. So we're going to break it down here. Cognitive distortions are basically lies our brain tells us. They're irrational thought patterns that twist reality in a way that usually makes us feel worse, more anxious, more depressed, more insecure. The crazy thing is they're automatic. Most of the time we don't even realize we're doing it. These distortions aren't rare. They're normal. They happen because our brains like shortcuts. They try to process complex experiences really fast, and sometimes the fast track isn't accurate. Think of it like having a funhouse mirror inside your head. But instead of making you look taller or wider, it changes the way you see yourself, others, and the world. Common types of cognitive distortions are all or nothing thinking. This is like this is one of my favorites because this is what I do all the time. Excuse me. So as I go through this list, see if these are anything that are familiar to you. Maybe something you do, or maybe a thought These are all thought patterns. This is what cognitive distortions are. They're thought patterns of how we perceive things. It's also called black and white thinking. All or nothing thinking is also called black and white thinking. That's how I am. There's no fucking gray area. Things are pretty cut and dry. It's when you see things in extremes. You're either a total success or a complete failure. Example, for you to understand this, is you miss a workout and think, I'm completely lazy and useless. Reality, you missed one workout. It doesn't erase all the good work you've done. This is a very hard thing for me to accept myself. When I miss out on something or my routine doesn't go correctly or something like that, I'm very, very hard on myself. And I've learned through doing the 90-day challenge with James over at Foxtrot Fitness, or Kilo Foxtrot Fitness, excuse me, which you can also participate in, and he would be very glad to have you, and so would I. Shameless plug, I get nothing for this. He is not he's the unofficial sponsor, we'll say. But yeah, go over there. He really, when him and I have our Friday discussions, which you will get basically once a week if you do the remote program like I am, you basically, you come to him and he's a good dude to confide in and say, look, dude, I fucked up. I stopped and got an ice cream cone this week. Or, yeah, I didn't work out as long as I should have. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Shit happens. It's okay. Let's push forward. Let's move on from that. Not going to let a speed bump stop us from our end goal. So if you need that type of encouragement, which was very hard for me to accept. I'm not big on accepting compliments, and I grew up in a household where my shitty decisions were like critical, very critically dealt with. He's the guy you need to go see. He will help you be successful because he won't beat the living shit out of you if you fucked up. So yeah, head over to Kilo Foxtrot Fitness. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook. Over at Gem City Wellness Center in the Dayton, Ohio area. If you'd like to see him in person. But yeah, get a hold of him, DM him, email him, all that stuff, and get started with him today. I believe he's going to be starting a boot camp in the fall, if that's more your thing. Obviously, you have some time to think about that and maybe get some things in order. So that was last I heard. But yes, go over and see him if you are needing some help with getting your shit together, like I did. Anyhow, moving on. Overgeneralization. This is when one bad thing happens and you decide it's going to happen over and over forever. An example of that is you bomb one job interview and think, I'll never get hired anywhere. One event feels like a permanent pattern, but it's not. Number 3, mental filtering. You focus only on the negative parts of a situation, ignoring anything positive, like getting 20 compliments and one piece of criticism and obsessing over the criticism. That's me as well. Disqualifying the positive. This is when even good things don't count. You ace a presentation, but say they were just being nice. You can't accept success, compliments, or achievement as real. Also me. Now you see why I'm doing CBT therapy. Jumping to conclusions. This one's huge. You assume something bad without evidence. There are 2 types. Mind reading. You assume someone's thinking badly of you. Or fortune telling. You predict something's going to go wrong. Example. She didn't text back. She must be mad at me. Or I'm going to fail in that test tomorrow. So you're perceiving negative things without like you're trying to see in the future, which is bullshit. Catastrophizing. This is something my wife does and I do. It's a anxiety response. Actually, a lot of these are anxiety responses, and that probably explains why so many fucking people in this world have anxiety. This is when you blow things out of proportion. You imagine the worst case scenario every time something small goes wrong. Got a headache, must be a brain tumor. Late for work, you're definitely going to get fired. This catastrophizing has been used by mothers, I believe in the for quite a while. I can't give an exact date, but if you don't wear your coat, you're gonna get pneumonia. If it's raining and cold out. You need to do X, or we're gonna find you dead in a ditch somewhere. Shit like that. That's catastrophizing. Emotional reasoning. You believe that because you feel something, it must be true. I feel worthless, so I must be worthless. Feelings are real, but they are not facts. I believe I also do that one. Should statements. Another one. I do basically this whole fucking list. That's why I found it. Should statements. This is when you guilt trip yourself with shoulds and musts. I should always be productive. I must never make mistakes. It's exhausting and unrealistic. Very true. Labeling and mislabeling. Instead of seeing a mistake as a mistake, you label yourself as a failure, a loser. You define yourself by a single event. Personalization. You blame yourself for things outside your control. Your friend's upset. You think it's your fault. Your team lost a game. You think you ruined it for everyone. So these are just 10. There are more. You can go ahead and hop online, do your own research, and kind of figure that stuff out. That's just the quick 10, and they seem to be some of the biggest. So now we'll go over, we're going to figure out why does this matter? Because cognitive distortions seriously mess with your mental health. They fuel anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, anger, you name it. But the good news, once you can spot a distortion, you can start to challenge it. It's like pulling the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz. Suddenly, the all-powerful thought loses its power. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Recognizing distortions give you choices. You can question the thought, you can reframe it, you can step back and see the situation more clearly. So, how do we actually do it? Here are a few quick strategies you can use. Number 1, name the distortion. First step is to catch it. When you hear yourself thinking something extreme, ask, is this an example? All or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, etc. Labeling it can break the spell. So you're going to be aware, right? We have to be doing this is all making yourself self-aware of what you think. So you really need to pay attention and be in tune for this to work to solve these issues. Number 2, you're going to gather evidence. Treat your thoughts like a detective would. What's the actual evidence for and against what you're thinking? Then you're going to talk back to it. Challenge the thought, obviously, in your head, or if you're in a room by yourself, go ahead and say it out loud. But we don't want people to perceive us as weirder than we already fucking are. Instead of, I'll never succeed, ask, is there any time I have succeeded before? Number 4, reframe the thought. Find a more balanced way to look at the situation, not fake positivity, just balance. I missed one workout, but overall I'm doing better than I was last month. Number 5, practice self-compassion. You are not your thoughts. You're not broken for having distorted thinking. You're human. The goal isn't to eliminate these distortions forever. It's to catch them faster and believe them less. If you, which I am not good with because I have a lot of cognitive distortions, but a good exercise for this stuff is to do gratitude journaling every morning, every night. So what you'll want to do, and again, I know how to do it. I'm just not very good at it. So don't shoot the messenger here. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite by any means. I'm just trying to throw out a method to help. In the morning, get up, list 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for in general, like in the world. Grateful for, how my new socks fit, or, which we all know is one of the best feelings in the world, is a brand new pair of socks. I'm grateful that the fucking lights are on. I'm grateful that I'm up right now to get ready to go to work. I'm grateful for having a job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You see the what I'm getting at here. Then at night when you get home, I want you to, or you should, list one good thing that happened to you that day. At least one. Or more. List fucking 20. I don't care what you do, but at least try to do one. Let's start there. And what that's going to do is that's going to help break some of these cognitive distortions, because what you're doing is now you're trying to find the good in everything instead of finding the bad. You put good out into the world, you'll receive good back, I suppose, right? So When we look at everything positively, we have a positive outlook on life. We're a happier person, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, gratitude journaling is definitely one of the better ways to handle cognitive distortions. You can use it as a daily exercise. The other thing that I have done is I've used AI to develop me basically an 8-week plan for dealing with cognitive distortions and beginning CBT therapy. I also came up with some. I've never been good. I think the thing with journaling is I don't know what to say a lot of the times. So to have journaling prompts kind of guide you into things makes it easy, makes life easy. And now all of a sudden I have like all this shit to write down. But there is I created some CBT therapy journaling prompts or shadow journaling. Shadow journaling is very good as well. I created some of those to use on a daily basis. So basically, I've created my own little CBT program that I can do daily. And you can find these online. You can there's lots of outlets for this stuff, especially on the internet, and you don't need to pay for anything, which is really nice. And I think you could. Sorry, my tooth is killing me today for some reason. But yeah, with that said, we'll wrap up here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like getting scatterbrained. All right, so that's a wrap on today's episode. Cognitive distortions are tricky, but you're stronger than they are, for sure. The more you practice noticing and challenging them, the more freedom you create for yourself. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend, maybe someone who could use a little reminder that they're not alone with their thoughts. Being alone with your thoughts sometimes can be very dangerous. So you definitely need to stay aware of that. And don't forget to subscribe so that way you don't miss any other episodes. I would like to implore you to check out the TikTok and YouTube channels. Also, follow me on Instagram, and you can always reach out to me through email. And yeah, thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. And remember, be the man you are meant to be.